Hello, I'm Carrie, and I'm making this video called Let's Keep BFDI Casual. And the gist of it is that I think both us as creators and you as the audience will have a much more fun time here on this little corner of the internet if we all just goof off, have fun, and not take anything too seriously. Because BFDI at the end of the day is just fictional, silly videos meant to entertain that aren't real people. Before we move on though, I do want to reassure you that we will keep making BFDI episodes for you, like Teapot 3, in big part because your enthusiasm for the show is just so heartwarming and infectious, especially like meeting you all at the meetups in real life. It's just really cool. But now I want to get into the meat of this video, which is this. Although it has many benefits, I think the pressure and expectation of over 1 million eyes watching us has sort of made it hard for me to enjoy working on main channel episodes, which may actually be the reason why I've found more fun making carefree side projects like the soundboard videos. But due to a recent tragedy in my personal life, I've sort of realized that life is just too short to waste it in fear of something that maybe shouldn't be feared at all, or to waste it living someone else's vision instead of my own vision. And if I'm gonna be honest, I think at this point in my life, my own vision is to strive to be more casual, goofy, imperfect, but fun, I guess. I don't know. So if this video were an essay, that would sort of be the thesis. Oh, and by the way, I should warn you that some of the topics I'm gonna talk about in this video are gonna be a little depressing. And I know a lot of you viewers come to this channel just for a funny cartoon to laugh with. So if you're not in the mood to talk about darker real-life subjects, you don't have to watch this video. There's nothing wrong with clicking off. Anyway, I believe ideas are best explained with stories, so here's a story. There's this YouTuber named Charlie Is So Cool Like, who actually returned to the platform recently after a few years, and I'm so proud of her for that. But they were one of the first YouTubers I ever subscribed to, back in 2011 or so, and around a year after that, they made this video called I'm Scared, where they discussed how uploading a video in the early days was easy and fun. But now that there was such a large audience, she feared, well, what if they don't like this video, and by extension, what if they don't like her? And so she would rather run away to avoid confrontation than to even think about making videos. At the time, I was 15, and to be honest, I didn't fully grasp how someone could feel that way. At the time, I thought uploading to YouTube was so carefree and exciting because I was a small YouTuber at the time. And it's all behind a screen anyway, so what's the big deal? I was so naive back then. Now though, 10 years later, I fully understand what Charlie was trying to get at. I mean, most OG YouTubers like me are probably introverts. I mean, I don't want to call myself OG, but you know, back in 2008, that was like a different era when there wasn't really the idea of companies or businesses starting on YouTube. Everyone was just doing it as a passion project. So anyway, to all the introverts watching now, you know, people who enjoy chilling in their bedroom alone over partying in a large crowd, I'm sure we can all relate to being scared to play piano in front of hundreds of strangers at a piano recital, right? That used to be my biggest crippling fear. Sure, some aspects of performance are different on the internet versus at a recital. For one, it's not simultaneous, but nonetheless, it's still performance. And on the internet, we're also replacing hundreds of viewers, a lot of them are apathetic parents who don't really care, with millions of viewers, a lot of those viewers who really care and are documenting everything you do. So of course, all sorts of anxieties start brewing in someone's head when they start coming to terms with that. And I feel like it's this experience that's just impossible to describe unless someone lives through it themselves. Which is why, even as Charlie was trying to communicate this idea to us as clearly as she could with her words, it just didn't register in my brain until now. Next, I want to talk about the Mr. Beastification of YouTube. I really admire the good work that Mr. Beast does, and I think it's great to have someone that's constantly pushing the boundary of what a YouTuber can achieve. But when I say Mr. Beastification, I'm referring to this idea that every subsequent video has to be just that much more extravagant than the previous one. Giving out $100,000 and then burying yourself alive and then going out to Antarctica. I don't know how Jimmy pulls it all off, but what I do know is that I'm not him, and I can't do what he does. And of course there are some things that I can do that he can't do, but that's beside the point. But yeah, if we're being real, I get sick sometimes, I get tired sometimes, I get depressed sometimes. And I want to have the freedom to make a video that is still pretty cool and still has my personal twist to it, but isn't necessarily higher quality than every video I've made previously. I just don't want to feel shamed about working on more humble projects and acknowledging that growth isn't everything. Earlier in the pandemic, I was trying to manage 6 different YouTube channels at once: Jack and Jellyfy, Carrie KH, Humany, Lazy KH, Abacaba, and Cube Roll. I guess I was trying to become the Mr. Beast role of my own corner of the internet, always expanding and always putting more on my plate than the previous year. But as a result, and this is purely our own personal decision, both Michael and I found ourselves pulling a lot more all-nighters, which I actually talked about in a video around that time. I didn't really finish until 7 a.m. the night before, and so the sun had already risen, and I just think that working throughout the night is a toll that I just don't want to keep taking or putting on myself. And I did it last week as well with the animation with Match. I remember that during the weekly Jack and Jellyfy upload period, Michael would even tell me that for him, it was just routine that Thursday night would be a night he would not sleep, because Friday was always when uploads would happen and he needed the extra time to polish off the editing and all that. So I don't want to do that again. And I feel pretty confident in saying that the more relaxed upload speed of any of my channels, if I decide to upload at all, is very much worth it for the healthier lifestyle. And I want to make it clear that it's only my personal responsibility to resolve these issues in my lifestyle. It's not the responsibility of the audience who has no idea anyway. But I think it's helpful for viewers to know, because if they keep asking where's the next episode, it's like they're kicking this machine without knowing what's going on inside. So the least I'm trying to do is sort of open the hood of the machine a little bit to show people what's happening inside, and show that if you kick it too much, it might break down a little bit. Also, I want to make it clear that these days I'm doing a lot better when it comes to overworking, sleep deprivation, and time management, partly because I've been shutting down channels and reflecting more on my true mind state, so I don't want anybody worrying about me these days because I'm doing fine. Hey guys, so at this point of the video, I had originally edited together a 6-minute section where I discussed that personal tragedy I mentioned earlier, which in reality was that one of my college friends passed away last summer in his 20s. When I rewatched that video section I'd edited though, I was just thinking, what am I saying? It's a bit too much detail for something I should have kept private, since none of you knew who he was, and most of you signed up here for lighthearted laughs, not life stories. All I'll say now though, is that I spent a lot of time reflecting on how unfair and uncertain life can be, given how hardworking of a student he was, and that for me, I don't want to waste any more time avoiding my true passions in life, so if that means I'd rather do things that don't appeal to the YouTube algorithm, like math and astronomy projects, or even extremely badly animated BFDI episodes, so be it. Carpe diem, YOLO, embrace the cringe. But with that being said, sudden side tangent. Next, there's this certain aspect to the way audiences treat animation in particular that I want to discuss. I feel like some people have developed this sentiment that every BFDI episode is somehow this enormous theatrical release. Like it's something that's worth staying up all night for, or memorizing when and where you were for each one, etc. I don't need you to do that. If you want to do it, go ahead, but when I started BFDI in 2010, that wasn't on my plan at all. And of course, all that sounds great on paper, but it just increases the pressure to deliver. I want to just, it'd be like hanging out with a friend. You just sort of like show up on the door one day and you're like, let's just play video games. So there's a lot of cool live streamers out there, right? Like Saikuno, Fusli, Ludwig, Pokimane, and many others. I've seen that sometimes they'll get sick and they'll just be honest with their audience that, hey, today I have a really bad sore throat and I can't give 100%. I can only give 50%. And in those moments, I know their true fans will always say, it's okay, you're human, do whatever makes you comfortable. And you may even see condolences like, hope you get better, and hashtag hugs for Tina, and so on, and I think that's just so sweet. But when it comes to animators who may, out of privacy reasons, choose not to be so vulnerable with their audience, here's what I see happen instead. So say I'm writing a storyboard for an episode and it needs to have 40 characters in it. If I'm also feeling sick to the same extent as a streamer, and I only give 38 of those characters screen time because I guess my brain's a little foggy and I forget the last 2, people who have those 2 missing characters as their fan favorites will notice that and will say, this episode is unfair to my besties, who are fictional. Why did you not give them the screen time they deserve, and do you hate them? And it sort of feels like all the focus is spent on that missing 5% instead of on the 95 that was still spent. And it just feels like there's a lot less freedom to be imperfect. I do want to quickly acknowledge that live streamers have hardships that animators don't have to deal with, such as creepy stalker fans, and also the fact that live streamers are just putting out more length of content per day or per month than animators means that of course it has to be a more casual setting. Let's talk about this practice where fans meticulously document every goof in a BFDI episode. This sort of practice doesn't really happen with other YouTube genres like Let's Players, family vloggers, or ASMR artists, even if those channels have massively larger audiences than us. I can't imagine a Markiplier fan documenting every time he misspoke in a FNAF video. They know he's human. And I just want to drill home the point that animators are just as human as the creators of all those other genres, even if you can't see their faces on the screen. I wish that just like other genres, the treadmill of time and the treadmill of content would just keep going, and you're allowed to make a bad video today, jump back on the treadmill, try harder tomorrow for a better video the next day. Just like the live streamer, if they get sick in January, can still have an amazing February. Now, I fully recognize that people can sort of tongue-in-cheek enjoy adding goofs to this list, where everybody secretly acknowledges that this is kind of a joke, right? We're all aware that caring about, say, Pin's outline extending too far off her body is bizarrely obsessive, and that's why it's funny. Here's two other examples of videos that fit really well into this genre of, OMG, we're caring so much about the most meticulous little details that don't really matter. Isn't it funny what crazy lengths we'll go to solve the most mundane mysteries? That's all to say that I'm cool with these goofs lists, as long as they keep this lighthearted nature to them. So I'm mentioning all this goof stuff because I don't want people getting the wrong impression that Michael and I are some mythological superhuman figures that come down from above and bless the world with BFDI. Like, that's just so far from the truth, and I am one of the sloppiest humans I know. Like, I'm wearing pajama pants right now as we speak. Some of the language I hear people using to discuss the stuff we do, all these words make me feel like people are getting the wrong impression that we're anything more than who we really are, which is two amateur YouTube enthusiasts. And in a similar vein, between all the multi-page reviews of the episodes and the IMDb pages for random high school friends I spontaneously asked to voice characters years ago, it all just feels a little too overblown in my personal opinion. That's just how I feel. For a casual YouTube animation, I decided to start in middle school with 1/10 the viewership of the Duck song, which I actually think is a good example of what I mean by casual yet super enjoyable homegrown YouTube content. I've heard viewers say, well, this TV cartoon did that, so why doesn't Jack and Jellyfy? And I just want to clarify that we're all amateur animators making content for fun and free to watch. I myself have never taken a single registered course in animation, education-wise, so I am as well equipped to make this sort of thing as you, the average viewer, are. When it comes to the Jack and Jellyfy office, well, there is no Jack and Jellyfy office. So this is my bedroom, and it's really messy right now because I've been sick for the past few days, so I haven't had time to do my chores. But it's the same bedroom I grew up in when I was 5 to 18 years old. And this messy desk right here, which I really need to clean up, is the same one that I drew the BFDI Season 1 storyboards on. Oh, here's actually the Episode 1 storyboard right now. Yeah, I know, she was so surprised. Really? Oh, for sure. So it's like, there hasn't been any upgrade when it comes to then versus now. You know, when I want to create a new BFDI project, I kind of like sit down at the same place and do the exact same thing of just drawing whatever feels funny to me. So there's really no company headquarters. It's just me and my brother and my friends just goofing off. This means it has less real-world presence than your local mom-and-pop restaurant, and excluding parents, I doubt a single adult over the age of 30 has even heard of BFDI, and those are the ones with the resources to actually help make animations in the traditional sense. And I say this all not to self-deprecate, I'm actually pretty proud of the things we've accomplished here, but it's more to recalibrate and remind ourselves what it means to have a homegrown YouTube channel that sort of came out of nothing. I think it's kind of better that way, and being held to the same standard as Disney's worldwide empire with tens of thousands of employees and multi-billion-dollar market cap, it all just feels so unattainable and unfun to me. I think the fun of being as underground as we are is that I can draw a crappy looking tree like that one and just plop it in an episode, and I'd still like to be able to do that in the current day. There's no law forbidding it. And also jokes like this from BFDI 20.
It's the Big Dipper! This star is for you!
Which just breaks all laws of physics. And some viewers may ask, Carrie, why are you not trying to improve beyond that? And the answer is that the reason I'm on YouTube is that I like that I don't have to adultify and follow traditional norms and become boring and serious. Having the freedom to draw trees like this one is sort of a way to connect with that childhood wonder of nothing is against the rules. Okay, that's pretty much it for the meat of this video, but I've just got a few last remarks. The first one being, BFDI is our creative story and you may have your own story. If you're dying to see an object show with your creative twist, why not try to make it yourself with the BFDI assets if needed? The more the merrier. 2, if I make a piece of content about a non-BFDI subject, such as math, computer science, or astronomy, my gentle request is that we center the conversation around that non-BFDI subject. Stay focused. Number 3, I originally recorded another section of this video making an analogy that compared different dance styles to why both high quality and casual animation are valid. I'm on the casual side. But it felt really repetitive to what I said earlier, so I'm just going to flash the script on the screen if you're curious. And 4, I've said it before, but huge thank you to everybody who's helped make BFDI episodes come to life. From Michael to Satomi to Sam to Pokey to Florence to Alan to TT Guy and a billion other people. And finally, 5, I want to thank you viewers in the audience because I know 90% of you are just so positive and uplifting and just want the best for me and Michael. I see you in my comments, DMs, replies, emails, and in real life. And I just want to let you know that that appreciation doesn't go unnoticed, even if I don't reply. It just makes my internet experience so much more fun with you interacting and all that. But with all that being said, thank you for watching this perhaps difficult video to get through. Hopefully there'll be brighter days ahead, and I'll see you in a few days when Teapot 3 comes out. Bye!